All right, today we're going to decode the invisible signals of power. I mean, forget the job titles, forget the loudest person in the room. We're going to explore the quiet currents, the ones that truly shape decisions and determine who actually wins. We're all kind of conditioned to see power in what's visible, right? The loudest voice, the formal title. But here's the thing, that's a fundamental misreading of the landscape. What we perceive as power is very often just noise. Real influence, the kind that actually moves systems, it operates silently. It's assumed, it's never announced. And this brings us right to our core signal today, the power paradox. It's the idea that the most overt, obvious displays of authority are not signs of strength, but of weakness. It's a completely counterintuitive truth that, once you really get it, will change how you see every single interaction. So how does this work exactly? How can a leader who seems to do the least, who rarely gives a direct command, be the one whose intent just sort of mysteriously becomes reality? What is the mechanism that they understand that so many others miss? Well, the answer is found in a pattern of 3 distinct signatures. Now, these aren't personality traits. They're observable signals that reveal where power truly resides. So let's break them down. So the first signal is what we call indirect operation. See, the most effective operators, they don't force decisions. They shape the context around them. The decision they want becomes the only logical choice for everyone else. And because the real outcome is achieved before any formal meeting even happens, people often believe the idea was their own. There's no resistance because nobody feels like they were pushed. And this concept, it's timeless. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. The goal isn't just to make a decision, it's to create a feeling of inevitability. When people feel a path is already set, they stop fighting it. They start aligning with it. That right there is the very essence of indirect operation. Okay, the second signal is a really powerful diagnostic tool. When you see someone constantly reminding everyone of their authority, making these grand displays or demanding respect, you're not witnessing strength. You are witnessing fear. This kind of loud signaling is just a compensation for a lack of real influence, and all it does is trigger resistance. It's so true. Real power is confident in its own existence. It doesn't need a billboard. It's the quiet assumption of authority, not the loud declaration of it, that carries all the weight. You know the saying, those who have it don't need to show it? And the third signal? This is the ultimate tell. Anticipation. The absolute clearest evidence of someone's influence is when a team starts to shift its priorities to align with what they believe a leader wants before a single word has even been spoken. This is where authority is inferred, not enforced. When you see that, you are watching real power in motion. Okay, so we've got the theory down, but how does this actually play out in the real world, in these high-stakes environments of work and leadership? This is the game. Let's really look at the mechanics of how quiet influence is actually used. What most people see as the meeting, the place where the decision gets made, is actually just the final step. It's mostly theater. The real work happened way beforehand. Ideas get seeded in these little informal chats, key allies are brought on board privately, and the agenda for the big meeting is framed to lead to one specific outcome. The formal meeting, it's just there to ratify a conclusion that was reached long before anyone walked into the room. And that's the reality of the game. The spotlight is for performance. The shadows are for strategy. The most effective players, they focus all their energy on those informal channels where the outcome is truly being decided. So, what happens to the people who don't get these signals? What's the price you pay for mistaking all that noise for real influence? Well, there's a very real cost, and it explains why so many smart, ambitious people end up getting stuck. The fate of the loud leader is pretty predictable. By constantly asserting their authority, they basically create their own opposition. They burn through political capital on trivial fights, and they get so focused on winning arguments instead of actually achieving outcomes. Their strategy is so visible that they become easy to read, easy to counter. They're always fighting, but they're rarely winning the things that truly matter. Now, let's flip that on its head. What's the advantage gained by those who can actually read and use these quiet signals? This is the operator's edge, and believe me, it is formidable. The quiet operator is playing a completely different game. They don't want your compliance, they cultivate alignment. They save up their direct influence for the very few moments that actually count. And instead of trying to control actions, they shape the environment so that people choose the desired path on their own. And the result?
Their influence just grows, silently, because the outcomes they produce feel completely natural and inevitable.
So understanding these signals is one thing, but using them to read your own environment? That's another level entirely. The real value here is in applying this map to your own world.
I want you to think about your own organization for a second. Who is that person whose opinion gets sought out before a big decision is announced? Who has projects that just seem to sail through while everyone else struggles? That person, right there, is a center of quiet influence. Your first job is to identify them.
Now let's turn the lens on ourselves for a moment. Where are you relying on your title, or maybe just a loud voice, to make a point? Where are you fighting battles out in the open that could have been won quietly beforehand? Just recognizing this is the first crucial step to shifting your own strategy.
And finally, here's a closing thought for you to take away. Look around you. Watch for the person who can shift the entire energy and direction of a group without ever issuing a single order. Observe how they do it, because when you see them, you are watching real power in motion. And that is how the world really works.